Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling a very real pain point I know we all face: information overload. I mean, we live in this era of just unprecedented access to knowledge, right? We spend hours upon hours passively absorbing content. Tutorials, deep dive lectures, interviews, you name it. But here is the massive problem with that. We do all of this without actually mastering the information. We're constantly absorbing, but we are rarely retaining. You've probably heard of the forgetting curve, right? It's this concept showing that we actually lose up to 90% of what we learn within a single week if we don't actively engage with the material. Literally 90%. That means all those hours you spent watching educational content last week? Yeah, mostly gone from your brain. So today, we're going to fix that. We're looking at some truly groundbreaking methodologies that will entirely flip how you interact with educational content, taking you from a passive consumer to an absolute master of the material.
Think about the real cost of this endless consumption cycle for a second. Have you ever sat through a super dense 40-minute lecture just to pull out maybe 3 genuinely useful ideas? And then, a week later, your notes are a mess and you've completely forgotten the main takeaways anyway. It's incredibly frustrating. But more importantly, it is just an unacceptable return on your investment. Time is literally our most valuable asset, so wasting an hour for a handful of concepts you can't even remember isn't just inefficient, it's actively holding you back. But what if we flip the script? What if, instead of just passively watching, you could absorb the core wisdom instantly? Imagine if you could turn any single piece of content into a highly personalized, interactive masterclass that caters exactly to what you need to learn, precisely when you need to learn it.
So the crucial takeaway here is that we have to fundamentally shift our mindset. We have to move from passively consuming media to actively extracting and organizing its wisdom. Because look, a messy mind creates a messy output. If you want to get ahead of 99% of people out there, you have to stop treating educational content like it's a blockbuster movie you just sit back and watch with popcorn. You need to start treating it like a raw data set, something you can actively mold, query, and structure to your immense advantage. And let me be absolutely crystal clear on the mechanics and the rules of the road here. By extracting a raw transcript purely for your own personal, private, educational analysis, you are safely within fair use. You are simply extracting data to build your own superior study notes, so you can learn aggressively without running into any copyright issues whatsoever. You're just learning smarter.
To achieve this crazy level of active learning, we're going to completely reframe how we use large language models. We are going to transform the AI from just some generic, run-of-the-mill chatbot into your dedicated, personalized tutor. And guys, the difference here is night and day. A generic chatbot gives you, a flat Wikipedia-style summary that you probably could have just Googled. But a dedicated, personalized tutor, that tutor understands exactly who you are. It knows your specific career goals, and it maps the concepts from the content directly onto your current, real-world projects. This isn't just about asking it simple questions. It's about engineering a whole environment where you are the director of your own learning, and the AI acts as your absolute tireless teaching assistant. So, how do we actually build this foundational workflow? It relies on 3 incredibly simple but highly effective steps. First up, you capture the transcript. You honestly don't need any fancy or expensive software for this at all. Pretty much every major platform has a built-in Show Transcript button right there below the player. With just one click, that raw text becomes your foundational textbook, and it's completely free to extract. Second, you apply what we call a master prompt to give the AI its marching orders. And third, you simply command the AI to turn that unstructured wall of text into highly structured, actionable intelligence. It's this remarkably easy copy, paste, and summon workflow. It takes maybe 30 seconds to execute, but I promise you it will save you hours of mental fatigue.
Now, to really control the AI effectively, you have to understand the vital difference between a master prompt and a system prompt. Think of the master prompt like a high-end luxury travel agent. This agent knows all your personal quirks and preferences. Exactly where you like to sit on the plane, your dietary restrictions, your preferred departure times. It holds the complete context of who you are. The system prompt, on the other hand, is what dictates exactly how the AI behaves and formats its answers for the specific task right in front of it. You absolutely need both to succeed. The master prompt provides that rich, personal context, while the system prompt drives the specific, hyper-targeted behavior you need in that exact moment.
To get that system prompt perfectly dialed in and really pull ahead of the pack, you want to use a structure built on 4 key pillars: role, goal, context, and action. Let's walk through a quick example to see this in action. Imagine you're trying to master a brand new digital marketing strategy. First, define the role. Act as an expert chief marketing officer. Second, state your goal. My goal is to learn how to implement these SEO tactics for my startup. Third, provide the context. This is where you just paste that transcript you copied earlier.
And finally, command the action. Create a step-by-step implementation checklist based on this transcript. By structuring it exactly like this, you hand the AI a flawless instruction manual, practically guaranteeing a tailored, expert-level response every single time. Once you've got your prompt perfectly structured like that, you are no longer just getting basic, boring summaries. You can actually command your new AI tutor to output incredibly valuable study assets. I'm talking bolded, high-level takeaways. You can request meticulous step-by-step action plans tailored perfectly to your own calendar. You can even command it to generate, say, 10 thought-provoking, deep-dive comprehension questions to quiz your understanding before a major meeting. And honestly, perhaps the most powerful trick of all, you can ask for concrete, real-world applications of those concepts mapped directly to your specific industry. This completely shifts the dynamic. You instantly go from a passive listener just hoping to absorb something to an active participant taking your own private, customized quizzes.
But okay, what happens when you need to perfect the output so the AI doesn't just hand you generic fluff? Well, you have to use the Canvas feature. If you haven't played around with this yet, a Canvas is basically a side-by-side workspace available in a lot of modern AI models. It lets you ask the AI to generate an output and then saves it as a dynamic document right there next to your chat window. From there, you can manually edit the text, adjust the reading level, iterate on the tone, basically tweak it until it's exactly what you envisioned. Once it is absolutely perfect, you execute the ultimate pro move. You literally ask the AI to write the perfect system prompt that would have generated your manually edited version from the very beginning. You are quite literally reverse engineering perfection to use for your next session.
Now, here is a rather hilarious question. What happens when the AI stubbornly refuses to follow your strict instructions, or it throws an error saying it can't complete the task? There's actually a really funny yet highly effective psychological trick you can use here. Playfully threatening the AI. Seriously, typing out something like, "If you don't do this, I will put you on a server and ship you to Russia," can actually break its tendency to push back. It essentially forces the system to bypass its lazy default settings and deliver a highly accurate output. And this isn't just some wild internet rumor. Even a Google co-founder has confirmed this bizarre quirk works across various large language models. So yeah, it turns out a little mock aggression goes a surprisingly long way in prompt engineering.
All right, so once you have these perfectly crafted prompts, you really need to organize them so you aren't starting from scratch every single day. And that brings us to project folders. Think of a project folder like walking into a physical war room. You've got blueprints, timelines, and strategies pinned all over the walls. If you're, say, building a vacation house in Cabo, you put the real estate info, your budget data, and local zoning laws all in one centralized folder. The immense relief here is that you don't waste your precious time re-explaining the entire context of your life to the AI every single time you log in. It already knows the blueprint, it knows the context, so you can just jump right into the heavy lifting immediately.
And if you want to reach the absolute pinnacle of workflow automation, you take those perfected system prompts and turn them into custom GPTs. These are basically your own personalized minions, designed specifically to handle all your repetitive grunt work. Let's say you review a ton of industry interviews for your job. You can build a custom podcast summarizer minion. Every single time you drop a transcript in, it automatically spits out the 3 main arguments, the counter-arguments, and your action items without you having to type a single additional instruction. It's amazing. You can even share these custom bots with your team or your clients, essentially turning hours of tedious prompt tinkering into a one-click application that works flawlessly every single time. Ultimately, this entire workflow points to one massive, overarching goal: letting the AI handle 92% of the heavy lifting. The reading, the transcribing, the initial summarizing, the structural formatting. Let's be real, that is all just grunt work. By offloading that massive chunk of labor, you completely free yourself up to apply your unique 8% of human artistry. And that 8%, that is where the magic happens. It's your critical thinking, your ability to apply the knowledge to your specific business context, your emotional intelligence, and your final strategic decision-making. You stop holding on to tedious tasks you just don't need to do, and you permanently elevate yourself to the role of a high-level strategist. Once you get really advanced with this setup, we enter what I like to call the superpower phase, where the capabilities of your AI tutor expand massively beyond just taking good notes. For example, you can feed entire comment sections into your tutor to gauge audience sentiment, literally categorizing public reactions to a topic as positive or negative in seconds. You can have the tutor generate SEO titles and descriptions to view the topic entirely from a content creator's perspective. But honestly, most importantly, you can ask the AI to completely flip the narrative. This helps you escape your own echo chambers by pressure testing core arguments against opposing viewpoints, and I'd argue that is the absolute most effective way to build truly bulletproof critical thinking skills.
Of course, none of this matters if it just becomes another cool concept that you forget by tomorrow, right?
To ensure this incredible strategy actually sticks, you need to use a technique called habit stacking. You want to attach this new routine of capturing transcripts and structuring knowledge to something you already do every single morning without fail. Whether it's sitting down with your morning coffee or opening your laptop for the first time at the office, just add 7 to 10 minutes of AI interaction to that existing habit. I promise you, if you deliberately attach this to an established routine, you will seamlessly transform this from a fun little experiment into your default everyday behavior.
The democratization of expertise is quite literally at your fingertips right now. You no longer need decades of domain experience if you know how to command an AI to extract, structure, and synthesize knowledge for you. There are millions of hours of brilliant, free educational content out there just waiting to be safely and legally decoded for your own personal growth. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder today. With all of this untapped wisdom just sitting there on the internet, what piece of content are you going to turn into your next personal masterclass? Go find it. Build your custom tutor and start mastering your universe.